This is Cashflow Ninja, episode 177 with Brad Lee.
Welcome to the Cashflow Ninja, the podcast empowering and inspiring people to discover how to generate their own income and manage, grow, and protect their own wealth in the new economy. Now, here is your host, MC Laubscher.
Hi there, MC Laubscher here, and welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Ninja. I have a great show for you today, and in today's show, I'm excited to have on Brad Lee that will be discussing the bottom line on success in business and life. Brad is a self-made entrepreneur with over 25 years in sales and marketing, and after training and motivating thousands worldwide, Brad realized that he was spinning his wheels. He was traveling nonstop, saying the same thing over and over, and the only thing that was changing were the faces in the room. Brad knew that there had to be a better, more effective way to train and communicate. He realized that in order to truly learn anything, there had to be repetition, practice, and ongoing accountability. In 2000, Brad decided to create a solution that will allow him to better train his clients and deliver the value he was being paid for. While he did it, it worked so well that he decided to completely change his business model and share the solution with the world. LightSpeed VT was born. Very excited to have Brad on. He did a phenomenal presentation at the 10X GrowthCon this year, hosted by Grant Cardone. Please share your feedback and thoughts on today's interview. You can let me know your thoughts on Twitter by tweeting me at MC Laubscher or by email at info@cashflowninja.com. And please remember to join our mailing list by signing up at cashflowninja.com or texting Cashflow Ninja to 44222. To ensure you never miss one of our episodes, you can download our free interactive smartphone apps from the Apple and Google Play app stores. You can also support the show by becoming a patron on Patreon for $10 a month. And when you do become a patron, you get access to our private Facebook page and a Cashflow Ninja t-shirt. You can become a patron at cashflowninja.com/support. Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Are you interested in real estate investing and don't know where to start or how to get the results you want? For valuable information to get you started, visit JoinOps Properties at joinopsproperties.com. If you're not earning at least 8% on your cash or money in your self-directed IRAs, you do not want to miss the private lending presentation for non-accredited investors done by Jimmy Freeland and Bob Scott. Discover how to create an income stream from real estate without the management headaches. You can access the presentation at cashflowninja.com/private lending. Spartan Invest have a proven plan and system, helping investors create passive income and wealth through turnkey real estate ownership in the exciting market of Birmingham, Alabama. Find out why Birmingham has got it going on, why it's a steal right now, why it's a millennial hangout, a hidden gem, and one of the most exciting investment opportunities you have never heard of. You can download your free report, 5 Big Reasons to Invest in the Magical City of Birmingham, Alabama, at cashflowninja.com/Spartan. I've spoken about the most powerful system on the planet on the show, the banking system, and my firm Valhalla Wealth Financial helps people reclaim the banking function within their own lives through leveraging the premium tools and strategies of the wealthy. If you're interested in reclaiming the banking function within your own life and the infinite banking concept, you can access a free webinar presentation at cashflowninja.com/be-the-bank. Brad, welcome to the show.
Man, thanks for having me.
Can you please share a little bit about your background and journey with my listeners?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think my whole career kind of started at the age of 6 years old. I didn't realize, I had the gift for sales, but I started knocking on doors selling candy bars. You know how in school where they'd give you the candy bars to go sell?
Yeah.
So I was in school in a small town in Cottage Grove, Oregon, and we were doing the candy bar drive, and I went out and I sold so many candy bars that all of the candy bars the other kids couldn't sell, they gave to me to go sell. And so I'm knocking on doors at like 6, 7 years old, and kind of realized that I had a little bit of a gift. I ultimately just said, do you have the phone number of a good roof repairman? And when they asked why, I'd pull out the candy bar from behind my back and say, because when you taste one of these, you're going to go through the roof.
Love it.
Yeah, they thought it was cute. So I just sold boxes and boxes. Matter of fact, I sold more candy bars than anybody, I think, in the history of candy bar drives in any state. And literally had our school kind of on the map as far as sales. So that's really when it started, when I started to realize I had the ability to sell. So my background's always been in sales. I got a job once. My dad's parents' family was basically advising me to get a real job, quote unquote, real job. And back then, $22 an hour was kind of a decent wage. So I went out and got this job, what I thought was fighting forest fires. But when I showed up on the job, it was actually carrying around this big old bag of water, finding smoldering stumps, looking for embers, and they wanted me to put them out so it didn't reignite a fire. And ultimately, within a couple of days, I got poison oak, which was just a little patch of poison oak on my arm. And I showed the guy, and kind of opened his shirt and showed me it was all over his body, and told me, it's part of the job to get back out there. And that just immediately made me rethink my situation. So I quit that job and went and got a job selling cars. And then from cars, I sold art. I pretty much stuck to sales my entire life.
Awesome. Now, I did a little bit of research on you as well. And you dropped out of high school and also went to Hollywood to pursue a career in acting, where there was a series of moments that happened, a realization in your life. Can you share a little bit more about that? Yeah,
I always wanted to be, a movie star, much like probably many other people. Wanted to be a movie star, did a Levi's commercial, a few episodes of TV shows that were filmed in Oregon. Casting director there in Oregon loved me, so she put me in quite a few things, and I just got the bug to be a movie star. So I dropped out of high school thinking I was going to be famous, moved to LA, and ultimately landed a starring role in a movie, and then found out right before production began that the producer's son was going to take my part. And that's the first time I was introduced to nepotism. So, being young and naive, I just asked a bunch of questions like, what's going on? Ultimately, they explained it to me. If you pay for the movie, then you get to decide who's who. And I'm like, well, then I need to go make a couple $1 million to pay for a movie. I guess I'll be back. So then I set off to be a millionaire to be able to pay for a movie so I could determine who stars in it and, who was in it. And I just didn't realize it'd take, 30 years.
It's amazing, some of these moments that you had. Now, when it comes to wealth and money and so forth, what was your relationship with money and your idea of wealth growing up?
Well, originally I came from kind of a lower middle class family. I mean, we had enough to eat, but we weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination. And then my dad, he was somewhat entrepreneurial as, from the ages of maybe 7 to maybe 12. And so he started different businesses, taverns, pizza parlor, little local newspaper in the town. And so I saw a little entrepreneurialism back then, but ultimately somebody got in a motorcycle accident after drinking all night at one of the bars. And my uncle, who was my dad's partner in the business, decided to save the money from the insurance. So he had canceled the insurance, which ultimately, cost us everything. And so we went from starting to scale up down to really nothing again. So, I always thought rich was, $1 million a year. I really didn't have an idea of true wealth until I got a little bit older. But after my dad kind of took that crash, he just, I hate to say like gave up. He just decided to, just get a regular job and work for someone else. And that was the end of that. But at 16 years old, I got booted out of the house because I didn't mow the lawn. And he came home one time drunk, which was an often occurrence, I would think. But he came home little drunk. My friend and I were there. He asked me if I mowed the lawn. I said no. He said, I think it's time you hit the road. Looked at my friend and said, you too, slick. And my dad, he'd give you that look where you didn't really want to mess with him. So once he told me to hit the road, I was 16, and that's when I went out on my own.
Quite an adventure and a story to start off with. And you had mentioned, getting that job and then eventually going into sales and selling cars and so forth, and just developing that natural skill set that you have already of sales. So how did you transition from those, after acquiring and developing the existing skill set of sales to then into the entrepreneurial side of your adventure when you started LightSpeed virtual training?
Well, if you ask me, I think entrepreneurship and sales go hand in hand. Most entrepreneurs started out because they had the ability to sell their idea or sell their product. And so they decided to start a business around it. I was running a car dealership at the time and ultimately ran the dealership successfully. So everyone wanted me to train their people. Well, you couldn't work for one person, which was a dealer, and then go train others. So I had to quit in order to take the opportunity to go train other people. Ultimately, $5,000, $10,000 a day, the lure of $5,000 or $10,000 a day got me to want to go do that. And so once I went out and started hitting the road and training people, I realized very quickly that it wasn't a very efficient method. And I noticed that, there was no repetition. There was no accountability. There was no time really to truly train somebody, because training isn't something you did. It's something you do. And, it's the repetition and the ongoing development that actually truly develops those skills and those habits. And when I was walking in for one day, and some cases 2 days, to train a group of people, I found that it was just very difficult to do. So I invented the LightSpeed VT technology for myself to help me train better. And it worked so well that, it just kind of took off from there. But ultimately, I started my entrepreneurial journey because people wanted me to train their staffs, their employees.
One thing that I've realized just listening to your story too, Brad, is just seizing opportunity, because, you started one stage and then doors started to open, and there's opportunities that start unfolding in front of you, and pivoting, making adjustments, and then seizing on those opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, someone asked me the other day, what's the biggest risk I ever took? And, I don't really think I take risks. I don't see things as risks. I kind of see them as opportunities. So some people kind of see it as a risk, which is, to me, negative. A risk means like I'm risking I'm going to lose something. I always think about the potential for gain. So I don't see risk as a negative. I see a risk as an opportunity. So I don't really take risks. So I couldn't really answer the question. I seize opportunities. They're everywhere. If you look around, there are opportunities literally everywhere. They're usually disguised as problems, right? Someone has a problem. If you have a solution, that's an opportunity. And, when they wanted me to go train individuals, that was an opportunity to make $10,000 a day and, work when I wanted, do what I wanted, not have a boss, not work bell to bell on Saturdays. So ultimately, I saw it as an opportunity to make, as much or more than I was making, but with less hours and more freedom. So I saw it as an opportunity when I jumped on it. Then again, very quickly, not only did I see that the traditional training methods weren't very effective, I also noticed that even if I worked every day for 30 days, the most I would make would be $300,000 a month, which it sounds like a lot, but it's also limiting. And not to mention, you weren't going to work 30 days every single day in the month. So you'd be lucky to get 6 to 10 gigs. So $60,000 to $100,000 a month sounded like a lot of money, but when you really get out there and think about it, you're limiting your ability to earn in that manual training capacity. So the system allowed me to scale. Now I could train thousands of dealerships, thousands of employees, thousands of salespeople while I was fishing or doing something else. And so that's what really attracted me to kind of keep going with that technology.
You guys are doing some really amazing things, I have to say. LightSpeed VT, this virtual training, and really changing the way that companies train, that we educate each other. You're involved in a lot of different industries. Where do you see this going in the next, in the next 12 months? And where is this training and this new way of training and education going in the next 5 to 10 years? Because this keeps evolving. It's a pretty exciting space.
Yeah, I started 17 years ago, and everyone looked at me cross-eyed like this was never going to work. People didn't understand that training online was something that was viable. So now it's starting to catch on, obviously. It's grown since the year 2000, I think about 1,500%. They say in the next 3 to 5 years, it'll grow another 300% from where it is today. And right now, I would believe about 75% of companies are using online training. By the end of the year, they say that will increase to about 85%. And by the end of next year, it'll be 97% of companies will have some sort of online training solution. I mean, it only makes sense. You've got scalability. It's less expensive. You've got the ability to be on demand. You've got the ability to track, measure, and monitor people in real time to see if they're doing what's expected. You just have to leverage technology. I mean, I think there's only two kinds of companies that are going to be left in the future. The ones that use technology and the ones that make technology. All the rest of them will be out of business.
This is extremely exciting what you guys are doing, as I've mentioned, because I can just see, it's unlimited to how fast and how big this company could be grown with this technology.
Yeah, I'll tell you, believe it or not, I've got my foot on the brakes when it comes to sales, only because I want to master the process that I have at the organization. So when I do kind of let my foot off the brakes and we start just blowing up crazy, that we have, an unbelievable customer experience and we can deliver high quality each and every time. So I think if you don't have your processes in place before you scale, everybody's always in a rush to scale their business, right. Money, top line revenue, that's all that matters. Well, in reality, if you scale your business too fast and you don't have the processes behind it, all you're going to do is piss off more customers and get a bad reputation. So I agree with you. It's going massive. I mean, universities are going online. There's more students enrolling in online universities than ever before. More companies are using it than ever before. And our technology, again, has been around for 17 years. We have full motion interactive video, which allows you to train almost as if you were in real life. I can pop up and talk to you almost as if I was right there. So I can find out what kind of personality you have, what kind of experience you have, where your deficiencies are, and then ultimately train you based on who you are. Most online learning systems, they're just watch this video, maybe take this test. Ours is interactive video. So it gives us the leverage and the advantage over all the other competitors out there because we can actually train people better. But yeah, in general, online learning is exploding. It'll be a $350 billion industry by 2025.
Yeah, this customization kind of angle to it is really unique. For the listeners out there that this is their first introduction to you. You guys have been doing business with Tony Robbins, Damon John, all of those companies, and are in many different niches.
Yes. all that started back in the day because I was a trainer and I was running into competitors, and ultimately they had a lot bigger brand names. They've been in business a long time. They had their loyal customers. And when I knocked on their door, I just couldn't seem to get in because regardless of what I said or what I had, they were loyal to the person that they fell in love with or that they found success with. So instead of trying to compete with those guys, I just decided to white label my product for them, because I knew that if I were experiencing these problems, training and doing my job, that, they'd be no different. I mean, they didn't have magic dust. They just had, word tracks and different information. So I thought, man, if I'm having this trouble, I'm sure they are. So I started to approach the big names with my technology and said, look, I have customers that are saying they love your training. However, I'm sure that, you don't want to go out to Council Bluffs, Iowa on some occasions just to train 13 people. What if you had the ability to train them 24/7 on demand, track and measure them better than ever before, and still pick up that revenue and help those people learn how to make a living? And they were attracted to that idea. So we started private labeling our system for the big names. And since then, it just grew outside of the industry that I was in. I kind of built the system in the car business for the car business, but quickly realized everybody needs trained. I mean, we have now UFC, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Grant Cardone, and the list goes on. Damon John, World Series of Poker. There's a lot of information that needs to be learned by a lot of people, and businesses especially, because they have turnover. So when you can create an interactive training and communication platform that can track, measure, and monitor all of your employees for any skill set, well, now it creates the demand for subject matter expertise. So I just quickly pivoted over to that market and decided to serve the subject matter experts. Now, that's how I really diversified, because, Tony Robbins obviously can help a lot of different companies, but some people are in hotel business. Some people help franchises. Some people help, certain industries. So because they private labeled our system, we started ending up in these other verticals, healthcare, pharma, the list goes on.
This is a very big lesson that I learned from you, Brad. And I came across the real Brad Lee the first time at the 10X conference. I wasn't there personally. I was in South Africa at the time, but I did stream that presentation you did. And I have to say I was blown away about your approach, because as you just discussed, I mean, it goes from, instead of just trying to compete, how do I find a way to collaborate and grow my business that way, like kind of pivot and take it into another direction. So, I mean, this is a very, very big lesson for my listeners out there to learn and look at what industries they are in and how they could possibly collaborate with some of their competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, try to take the path of least resistance when possible, if it's the best route to take. And I could have went up against my competitors, and probably I would have lost. They had a bigger brand, bigger budgets. So I just found the path of least resistance. If I can't beat them, join them. So many people are taught just to, keep going and like just focus in on the prize and, barrel over anybody in front of you. Well, that's all good philosophically. But when you have a huge brand or a huge competitor that could eat your lunch, they could buy your company and bankrupt it just to get you out of their way, that's not always the best advice. It's a lot of motivation, but not real practical application. So if I were in any business, I'm always going to look to collaborate rather than compete. There's ways to do it with everybody. You look at your competitor, find a problem that we go back to problems. You find a problem that you can solve. Maybe you've got a distribution arm in a particular area that they don't have. Now you can collaborate with them. Maybe you can fill a niche that they don't have, or fill a void that they're missing or weaker than you are in. And again, you can just fill that. So I always look to collaborate rather than compete. I mean, obviously I have my competitors. I wouldn't collaborate with all of them unless, there was something better in that collaboration. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't compete, because I think we all need to compete. I think we all need to dominate, actually. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of ways to do business and find success. And it's not always, confronting people and competing with people.
Exactly. And especially when you see unlimited opportunity there, it's just from a mindset perspective too. Unlimited opportunity, unlimited amount of value you can add and money you can make. Then you do start to see different ways that you can pivot and collaborate with people that are on your niche and competitors.
Yep. You got that right.
You're listening to Bradley on the Cashflow Ninja podcast. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Are you on track to achieve your financial goals? Income-producing real estate is the most historically proven way to accumulate wealth and has created more financial freedom than any other means. Norada Real Estate provides everything you need to invest in the best turnkey cash flow rental properties. Our simple, proven system will help you create real wealth and passive monthly income. Get your free strategy session with our knowledgeable investment counselors at noradarealestate.com. That's NORADA realestate.com.
You're listening to Bradley on the Cashflow Ninja podcast, and now back to our interview. You've spoken about looking at problems and challenges that you can solve for others. And what are some of the other, I would say, the sauce in the success formula that you have, and that you've learned over the years? Because as you mentioned, it took you about 15 years to become an overnight success, right?
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is sales. I mean, my ability to sell has helped me immensely beyond any other quality or skill that I have. I think anybody in business, especially when you're solopreneur, entrepreneur, under a $10 million revenue level, sales is everything. You need to be able to sell your product. You need to be able to sell your services, your quality, et cetera. So in my opinion, I think sales is the number one attribute anyone should be able to sharpen and polish in any field whatsoever. But after that, I would think it's why I have my social media name, The Real Brad Lee. And that's because I like to keep it real. I have honesty and integrity above and beyond. I mean, I've learned lessons as a kid that fortunately didn't cost me millions of dollars. And one of the lessons I learned was, be yourself and not bullshit everyone. Don't be a liar. Do what you say you're going to do, almost like religiously. You do what you say you're going to do. That way, your reputation is, look, if he says it, he'll do it. So you can call that integrity, I guess, honesty. But sales ultimately number one. That's the number one attribute anyone should be able to, or anyone should, find and master if they want to find success.
And then also, once you have that integrity in place, it's easier to establish relationships. And just from looking what you're doing, you've established and grown some really good relationships for yourself and for your business to elevate yourself and your business to the next level.
Well, yeah, that goes out to reputation. I mean, the reason why I can text Tony Robbins or FaceTime Grant Cardone or go fly down to the Shark Tank set and hang out with Damon is the relationship. Well, why do you think I have a relationship with them? Because, when I approached them, they asked around to friends and people and the word on Brad Lee is, man, the guy's the real deal. He's out to help you achieve more, and he's not, he doesn't BS you at all. He tells you like it is, whether you like it or not, and that helps. So I wouldn't have met or secured these people or deals if I would have been lying and cheating and scamming and giving people the short end of the stick. I mean, when I forget how old I was, but I went down to pull weeds at a neighbor's house, and I was a little kid. So the guy didn't think I was going to pull him any weeds. I think he was just helping me out to try to let me make a little side money. So I knocked on his door and I asked him, hey, do you have any, side jobs I can do? He said, yeah, you can pull weeds. He had a lot of weeds in his yard. So he gave me a bucket and he said he'd give me a quarter of weed. So I proceeded to go out there and pull, I think, about 800 and some odd weeds. And so when I came back to the door hours later, which he probably didn't even realize I was out there working all of that time, I had a big bucket of weeds. Well, being a man of his word, he started counting them out. And, I could see his eyes change when he was past like 150. He was probably thinking he was going to give me $4 or $5 and on I'd go. But, he owed me a lot of money, especially as a kid. And I got fired right after that. Like he said, all right, that's enough.
Over deliver too much.
Well, no, it wasn't a win-win. I mean, the guy was expecting to give me $5, $10. He was trying to help me out. Well, guess what? He wasn't trying to give me a couple $100. So it wasn't a win-win situation. And I really kind of realized, even at a young age, man, you have to have a win-win scenario if you want it to last. If you're getting the best end of the deal, if it's slightly, I mean, everybody kind of is always going to have some sort of better end of the deal, at least in their mind. So I'm not talking about, that, but when it's just a out of alignment deal, when you are not in alignment with a win-win scenario, you better not go buy a big house or a yacht, because that situation's not going to last.
What projects are you working on right now? What's in store for the real Bradley in the next 12 months? I know you'd mentioned that you were working on a book as well.
Yeah, I'm writing a book right now. I don't know when it'll be finished. I'm writing a couple chapters a week. It's just basically the lessons I've learned along the way that I've applied in my life. And I think if everyone used those lessons, that they would find that ultimately they don't have to learn the hard way like I did, because I learned the hard way, man. I wouldn't listen to anybody. I didn't read books. I didn't understand personal development. I thought I knew everything. And I went out and got my, teeth kicked in 1,000 times to learn one lesson. So I just thought if I put those all down in a book, it might help some young buck out there, some young lady out there not have to go get their teeth kicked in.
And what are some of the things that you would tell a younger Bradley if you're at age 17 and 18, you can go back and say, listen, here's like one or two things for you. This is going to come in handy. Trust me.
Yeah, I would say don't listen to most of that cliche advice that people give. I mean, from the college degrees to having patience to, money's not everything, money doesn't buy happiness, just all the crap you learn listening or you learn growing up. First of all, patience is not a strength. Patience is a weakness. I mean, I can tell you, matter of fact, the first chapter in my book is called Patience Can Kill You. And there's too many people out there telling people to have patience, man. You should not have patience. You should want everything immediately and use that to drive your work habits. I mean, listen, you're not going to get everything immediately, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't want everything immediately. It'll put a nitrous boost in your hustle. I mean, why would you be patient? The word patient literally means that you can experience suffering, loss, or delay without being mad or upset. Now, why would anyone want that? Like if I'm delayed, I'm going to get upset. If I don't get what I want, I'm going to get upset. And I believe that that's lent to my success. You can't be satisfied. You can't sit down and wait. I had a friend of mine always say, if I'm not sitting on my ass, how's everything going to fall into my lap? Well, it's not. You need to get up and go out and hustle for it, and you need to not have patience. So I would tell my 18-year-old self not to have patience, because it took me probably till I was about 30 years old to really believe that patience is not a strength. It's actually a weakness. And I don't know whoever brought up that you should have patience, but it's probably someone making someone else feel better because they didn't get something that they wanted. Have patience. Relax, just have patience. It'll come. No, don't have patience, man. Get pissed off. Go out there and get what you want. I would also, tell my 18-year-old self to think bigger. I used to think $1 million was all the money in the world. Now, $1 million, you basically $1 million today will allow somebody to probably live comfortably. But it's definitely not anything to strive for. I still hear people say, man, I just want to make $1 million. How can I be a millionaire? Think bigger. Why not be a billionaire? Why not go after $100 million so you can actually, pass on some stability to your family and, help those that are going to come after you. $1 million is going to make it to where you live comfortably, and that's about it. When you die, that's, it's over. Why not go after 100 million? So I would say, think bigger, do not have patience, and do not bullshit anyone ever. Like, tell the truth every single time, no matter what.
Now, Brad, one habit I've observed from very wealthy and successful people is that they're always studying new subjects, and you've touched on personal development and learning new skill sets. What are you currently studying, and what skill sets are you currently learning, and what opportunities are you currently seeing out there too in the marketplace?
Well, the opportunities are everywhere. Like I said, I mean, to learn, we have VTs getting launched like you wouldn't believe, whether it's how to cook, how to sell, how to close, how to speak, business etiquette, cybersecurity, entrepreneurialism. The list goes on. The opportunities are crazy for what you can learn and reach out to. Currently, I work on myself all the time, like almost daily. So I'll pick up a book or watch a course or take a course or invest in, training or education of some kind all the time. The last book I read was a little while ago called Relentless by Tim Grover, which he became a client as well. So now you can either read the book or you can take his VT course on it, but it just teaches you mindset. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how powerful their mind really is. A lot of people don't know who they really are. A lot of people don't know what they really want. And in order to get what you want, you kind of have to know what it is, right? And so a lot of people just think they want money, and that's not all people want. Money in itself is not necessarily success. What I believe is everyone has their own idea of what's successful, and that's what you need to go after and not listen to what everybody else's idea of success is. I've got a quote that's pretty popular. Everyone that comes to the office sees it on the wall, and they take a picture of it. So I send them this big, canvas of it and so they can hang it up in their house or their office. But it says, there is no key to success. It's a combination. And what that means is, like if I asked you, what's your idea of success? What you say might not be my idea of success. If I ask Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins what their idea of success is, may not match yours. Well, what's that mean? Is success is success elusive? Is it attainable? And so people start to think that success is just money, when in reality it's a combination of things. I get to talking so much I forget your damn original question.
No, this is great. You've covered all of them. We've spoken about key and core topics and concepts such as integrity, and you've shared some fantastic advice that you would give your younger self. And a core message in the show is to leave our families and communities and the world better than we found it by passing down a mindset of values and principles to future generations, not just money. You've covered an array of great principles and values already. Are there 3 other ones that you would like to pass on to future generations, core principles for them to build wealth and achieve happiness and this concept of success?
Yeah, I mean, a big one that I had to learn the hard way. Again, that's why I'm calling the book The Hard Way. I mean, every single thing I had to learn seemed to be I had to learn the hard way. I wasn't smart enough to, ask people that have been there before or listen to their advice, even if I did ask. So I would say, you don't have to learn the hard way, but one of them is self-respect. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that they don't really realize it, but they don't respect themselves very much. And it ultimately leads to an unhappy life or an unfulfilled life. They tolerate bad relationships. They tolerate poor paying jobs. They tolerate average. And I believe truly that it's because they don't respect themselves. They don't think they deserve more. You know, one time I was a little bit depressed. So I went out and decided I would get, you know, some sort of counseling for my depression. But then I finally realized I didn't deserve it. That's supposed to be funny. But at the end of the day, it's self-respect, man. You know, people need to respect themselves more. And that includes, you know, who you hang around, what you tolerate. Because if you think about it, success isn't that difficult to find. First, you have to figure out what it is. Okay. And then you just simply, you know, chart a plan to get there. And most people won't do that because of all the cliche advice that they've gotten, or in my opinion, they don't respect themselves enough. So self-respect would be definitely one of them. You are who you hang around. Be careful who you hang around. You know, I had a lot of friends that were into partying and running around being dickheads. You know, and guess what? Pretty soon I was partying and running around being a dickhead. It's just looking back, it's like unbelievable because you know what? Everybody, if they pay attention, the information's right there. They're not paying attention. They're not looking at the signs. So respect yourself. Watch out who you hang out with. These sound cliche, but they're definitely a fact. And then if I could change anything going back, I would probably smack myself in the head at 18 and tell my 18-year-old self to be more respectful to people. I mean, there's probably a lot of people that I've hurt or caused damage to in some way because of what I said or what I didn't say, or, you know, it's just, I didn't really understand the value of individuals and the respect for them. So I think, you know, definitely respect others more.
And you touched on something that, you know, I almost had a little bit of flashback there because that's a point in time in my life too. You'd mentioned, you know, from a personal development side that you have to figure out who you are. And that, you know, that ties into when you figure out who you are. And I think that was it for me. I looked at myself and I'm like, well, I need to become that person, that earns my own respect, you know, as part of that self-development too, in the time period that I was in, and then figure out what you want, as you've mentioned earlier in this conversation as well. Brad, how can my listeners learn more about you and your company and stay informed of all of the projects that you're involved with?
Well, you go to bradlee.com. That's LEA. A lot of people ask me, is that Leah? And I say, only if you drink Tia. So just like tea, you know, it's Lee, bradlee.com. I put up a website just because I believe everyone's eventually going to have a website, a personal website. That's where you'll reach people. That'll be your phone number. That'll be where people can talk to you, FaceTime you, everything. So I snatched the name, bradlee.com. You know, if you go there, you can see what I put on YouTube, which are my bottom lines. You can subscribe to youtube.com/Bradlee. I put out these little things called bottom lines. Have you ever seen any?
They're awesome. Love them.
Yeah. So you can check me out there, but to see what I'm up to, I would basically, you know, just follow me. I tweet about it. I show, you know, all kinds of aspects of life, you know, personal life, business life. I tweet out, techniques, tips, things that I've learned, lessons I've learned to help other people avoid the mistakes I had to learn from. And then our main website is LightSpeedVT.com. And that is where you will see what we're doing with our technology. I mean, the technology, we're just coming out with a new release. It's unbelievable. We've got heavy integration with social media, heavy integration with you know, I've got features that literally will blow people's minds. If you're a business owner and you don't value training, it's because you've been doing it wrong. So go to lightspeedvt.com and check out how we can help you. Because one thing is a fact. Most companies, although they do offer training and they think they're training, they're not actually training. They're exposing. And the difference between exposing and training is massive. I have companies that spend $1 million on training on their annual budget. And, the measurable impact that it had was, low to none. And so we'd go in there and help these companies, and I'd analyze their training routine, and what they were doing was actually exposing. So LightSpeedVT.com is the technology that I think will span the globe. My goal, my vision is to be the most widely used training technology on earth. So check out LightSpeedVT.com to follow what's happening with that.
Very, very exciting stuff. And your social media stuff is really good too. I love the videos, and I love it how you just share what it is, right?
Yeah, what it is. I always start out with what it is. Hey, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all of them. You just look for me under The Real Brad Lee. You'll find me, or Google me.
Awesome. The Real Brad Lee, thank you so much for spending time with us and sharing your journey and your knowledge and providing so much value for my listeners. It's been a blast connecting, and look forward to connecting in person in the future.
Man, I'm honored to be on the show. I'm thankful that you asked me, and anytime. I appreciate you, MC.
This is MC Laubscher, the host of the Cashflow Ninja podcast. As you may know, I'm also the president and chief wealth strategist of Valhalla Wealth Financial. We help individuals, families, small businesses, entrepreneurs, and professionals build their wealth outside of Wall Street and help investors maximize the use of every dollar in their personal economy and boost their investment gains. We do this by combining the capital and investments with the financial vehicle of the wealthy according to the infinite banking concept. If you're interested to learn more about privatized banking and the infinite banking concept, you can access an exclusive webinar at cashflowninja.com/be-the-bank. Thank you for joining my guest, Brad Lee, and myself on the Cashflow Ninja today. If you like what you hear and appreciate what we're trying to build here at the Cashflow Ninja, please subscribe, rate, and review our show on iTunes, and share our show with family, friends, and your network. I'm always trying to learn and improve in every area of my life, so if there's any way that I can provide more value to you and serve you better, please reach out to me at info@cashflowninja.com. If you're not a subscriber to the Cashflow Ninja Gashku newsletter, you can sign up for our newsletter at cashflowninja.com or text Cashflow Ninja to 44222. You can support the show also by becoming a patron on Patreon for $10 a month. And when you do become a patron, you get access to our private Facebook page and a Cashflow Ninja t-shirt. You can become a patron at cashflowninja.com/support. Jimmy Freeland and Bob Scott have been in your shoes and have used real estate investing to become financially free. They've designed a system to take any beginner to an experienced deal-making investor in the least amount of time. They offer opportunities from basic education, coaching, bridge loan investing to turnkey investments in the cash-flowing market of St. Louis, Missouri. For more information, please visit joinupsproperties.com or call Jimmy and Bob at 314-799-2247. If you're not earning at least 8% on your cash or money in your self-directed IRAs, you do not want to miss the private lending presentation for non-accredited investors done by Jimmy Freeland and Bob Scott. Discover how to create an income stream from real estate without the management headaches. You can access the presentation at cashflowninja.com/private lending. Creating passive income for you and your family is easier than you think. All you need are three things: the right plan, the right product, and the right turnkey provider. As an investor, you want a safe, profitable, and convenient way to invest your capital without being at the mercy of stock market fluctuations. Investing in real estate in a turnkey way that provides monthly passive income with very low risk is exactly what Spartan Invest provides for their clients. Their mission is to make investing in real estate easy for the busy professional. Spartan Invest helps investors create passive income and wealth through turnkey ownership in Birmingham, Alabama. You can download your free report, 5 Big Reasons to Invest in the Magical City of Birmingham, Alabama, at cashflowninja.com/Spartan. The wealthiest families on the planet know how to capture their wealth and then leveraging their wealth through their own banking system. If you're interested in the infinite banking concept and learning the premier strategies of the wealthiest individuals and families on the planet, you can access a free webinar at cashflowninja.com/be-the-bank. That's our show for today, everyone. Until next time, live a life of passion and purpose on your terms.
You have been listening to the Cashflow Ninja with your host, MC Laubscher, the podcast empowering and inspiring people to discover how to generate their own income and manage, grow, and protect their own wealth in the new economy. Today's show notes and resources are available on our website, cashflowninja.com. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. The information being presented and considered does not consider your particular financial objectives or situation, and it does not make personalized recommendations. This material is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax and legal advisor or other qualified professionals, and you should not use the information in place of a customized consultation with a licensed professional regarding your specific personal financial objective, situation, and needs. We believe the information provided is reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, timeliness, or completeness.